Welcome to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. In this episode, we'll be listening to authorless events and community partnerships, a session that was presented at Children's Institute 2026 in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Hello, everyone. Oh, geez, that's loud. It is 2:30, and this is the last education session of this conference. So let's go ahead and begin. So this is authorless events and community partnerships. If you are in the wrong space, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't know where anything else is. And this hotel is very confusing. Antitrust guidelines, my friends. We have all been here. We all know no pricing policies, no boycotts, no dividing up the markets. Please do not do these things. There will be slides and all of that stuff available. You can use the QR code to download them now. As you know, please do the survey. That's how they create all of the education programming next year. The recordings will be there. There will be a mic that will get run around by ABA staff. So please wait for the mic if you have a question. Okay. Our agenda is basically we're going to talk about what our objectives are with authorless events. What our opportunities look like, and some models and examples, and what we have considered to be our own successes and outcomes, and then of course the Q&A. And hopefully the objective at the end is that you will have a better idea of what an authorless event time can look like in your own store, and think about the different models and how you can utilize those for yourselves. And just comparing different ideas with all of us in this room. So I'm Grace Lane. I'm the store manager and one of the buyers at Linden Tree Books in Los Altos, California. We are smack dab in the middle of Silicon Valley. And we do a lot of authored events, but authorless events are very, very fun.
Oh, okay. I am Amanda Klein, and I am with Bluebird Play and Bluebird Books in San Diego, California. I am the owner and the buyer, and we do almost no author events at all. We do almost all authorless events.
Hi, I'm Sarah. So I'm the manager and buyer of Carmichael's Kids Bookstore in Louisville, Kentucky. Carmichael's has been around in the city, but the kids bookstore is about 12 years old at this point. And one of my major goals stepping into manager was just bringing more people into the store. And one way I found to do that is through these authorless events. So I'm so excited to be on this panel with you all today.
Hello, my name is Talia White. I'm the owner of Rosiebaum Books in Boston. We're a cooperative bookstore. We've been open for a little over 4 years. Because we are a very small store, we do a lot of creative events where authors are not present.
So one of the things that we love about authorless events is that they're really easy to, as Talia said, be creative with. And you can cater to your specific community needs. You can partner with local nonprofits and organizations. And then you can also pair your customer base with those organizations in some really interesting ways. And sponsorships also, speaking of local organizations, can help a lot. Local banks, various businesses that have, some sort of arm like that. It can be a lot of research, but it can be very, very, very lucrative, and it can help you out a lot when it comes to events. Sarah and Talia.
So one way that you can get started is if you have an idea or you see some sort of need in your community, you can think about how to bring more people in. So you can think about how that community partnership might be. Maybe there's a local organization that fits that need perfectly you can reach out to. Another strategy is to have a list of the partnerships that you want to have in the future. Maybe you have people reaching out to you, or maybe you just know of specific organizations you want to get involved with. And then when something comes up, you're like, oh, wait, someone did reach out to me, or I did hear about an organization that does that you can bring in. So there's a lot of different opportunities just depending on your area to make the event even bigger and more applicable to your community by having a partnership present there.
Yeah. And, if you're looking for financial support, you should contact your local bank or a business in your community that has a strong that does community sponsorships. In the previous slide, there was a picture of a farmer's market that we do. It's a farmer's market that's in the neighboring community. The market caters mostly to a low-income Haitian immigrant community. Most of the people who shop there are on food stamps. So we figured maybe we should figure out a way to give away free books at this market. So we contacted our bank, the Cooperative Bank of Boston, about it. We put together a proposal of what we wanted to do, and they gave us some money, and we bought over 200 board books, kids books in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole to give away. So that's a great example of something that could be a win-win for everybody. The bank gets to say they gave away money to this bookstore that bought books to give away to this great community. So look into banks, and also, like I said, businesses in your community. Real estate agents can be good partners to contact because they always like to do things in the community and to give away stuff, and you suddenly become part of their marketing strategy when they're talking to clients, when they're saying, oh, well, and if you move into this neighborhood, there's this great bookstore you might want to consider shopping at. So there's a lot of great opportunities that could be beneficial both for your bookstore as well as the partnering financial sponsor. There you go. Amanda?
Yeah, so we really try to be very specific about what we're trying to get out of the events that we run, and they don't all have the same goal, right? So if we're running a free in-store event, we're a tiny store. We're one of the newer stores here, and we're not expecting for that to be a big revenue driver. And our goal for that is just like foot traffic, community engagement, and really just showing our community that we're here. Our ticketed in-store events are a way for us to generate a little bit of revenue and then also get that attendance commitment from folks who are coming. We do free offsite events, and those again are really just to like introduce ourselves to our community. And so if you're expecting every event that you do to be like a huge revenue driver, that's not the only indicator of success. And then we do paid offsite events as well, and those continue to be our goal with outreach as well as revenue. But you don't need to look at all of them as driving revenue. Oh, is this still me?
Yeah,
okay. Well, yes, like I said, not every event needs to sell books immediately. They're really designed to just show up for your community and deepen your loyalty of your customers in your community and introduce people to your store.
So we just as we move into models and our own real examples, we wanted to remind you, take what you need, share what you can. We are all wildly different stores, all four of us, and all y'all in the audience are also wildly different stores. Not everything is going to work for everyone. So it's just really important to keep that in mind. And yeah, sometimes you'll have a really great idea or you'll hear a really great idea, but like you need to use it in a different way. And we also want to hear about that idea.
Okay, so I get to tell you about themed and costumed events. I'm going to start by telling you the problem I was facing at my store that maybe some of you are also facing, which is the size. So at the kids store that I'm specifically at, the store is very small. So there are not additional rooms. It's a one-room store. There's not a lot of space to have an event. I can always partner with other places and have it at a different location, but there were still people in my community that didn't know that we had a local children's bookstore. And so my goal was to bring people into the store. So I had to get very creative with how to do that in a small space. It's a lot of trial and error, figuring out what events the community wants that will work at the space. But I came up with a good solution. So that is having a themed event at the store that takes place all day instead of a specific time. I found that when we do themed story times, they could be very popular, but the space makes it extremely hectic in there. All of the parents are way too close together, can't really participate or be a part of it. So I had to think about how to get people to come at different times. And so to do that, I thought, let's celebrate all day. You stop by and we always have something going on. So no matter what time you come, you will get the full event. And so with themed days, it starts with an idea. At this point, sometimes it's just what customers are telling me, like, you know what? Enough with princesses. Let's have a dinosaur day. Let's have a dragon day. So that's kind of where the idea comes from. But then there's always something going on when you get there. So when you walk in, there's a little table set up that has a flyer with all of the things that you can do while you're there. There is a guess how many game that's also a raffle. So just coming up with processes that you can combine things, and it's a little bit of a time saver. And then we let them know that, that you can go to the craft table. If there's not a seat at the craft table, consider playing our scavenger hunt. The scavenger hunt gets people to walk around the store and play the game while they wait for a seat at the craft table. So just thinking of creative solutions to getting people to be at different parts of the store and not all congregated into one area. And I found that that worked really well for my specific problem, which was the space. There are also a lot of things you can do to make it not cost a lot. These events are free. We do ask people to RSVP so that we have supplies for them. But one thing I do is I reach out to publishers and I say, hey, we're having Princess Day. Would you be willing to donate princess books? I did that most recently with our Unicorn Day, and I had a ton of publishers send me free books, stickers, all kinds of things. And that was our giveaway for the day. So it helps lower that cost when I know that there are people that are willing to donate to those things. You can also reach out to community partners. So there was someone that has a nonprofit in my area that does princess dress up that came for free. So you can think about how to bring in different members of your community. And then we had people RSVP on Eventbrite for those. So that's how we came up with the specific system that works well for themed days in our store. There's also costume parties you can do that the publisher can sponsor. So you can request a costume to come visit your store and have an event around it, which always brings people in because they love these characters. Like, who does not want to take a picture with these characters? So it's always really fun.
That is my staff and me with Dogman. Other people were wearing a Linden Tree shirt. It was good for them. I had my Protect Trans Kids shirt on, so you can figure out which one I am in that. But it's a good time, and the publishers will send you this for free. You can have a little day and you can have someone dress up as Dogman or Mercy Watson or Cat in the Hat. You'll see some photos from that later from other stores. And it's great. I will say, like, for Dogman, someone does have to be over the age of 18. But that was, and everyone, like, there's also specific height requirements for all of the costumes. But it's always a really fun time. And it's an easy way to have a publisher sort of sponsor something for you and then see how the community responds to that. And then you can kind of start to figure out what story times or what days might be a thing and like go from there.
Oh, and I'll also add that for the costumed events, we came up with another solution since we didn't want to host it at our specific location, which was our neighborhood library hosted us because they have a lot more space. So you can always reach out to your library.
Yeah, and speaking of libraries, I want to stress that it's important to understand the demographics in your community because that can make a difference in if the event will be successful. So in my case, my neighborhood has a large Puerto Rican community, and I went to my library, my local library, head librarian. I said, maybe we should do a Three Kings Day event. A lot of my Puerto Rican customers come in and they say, that Three Kings Day is a bigger deal than Christmas. So we came up with this idea of just buying, the friends of the library group bought 100 copies of La Noche before Three Kings Day. And that's another group of people you can hit up for money. You could be a financial sponsor. The friends of the library group, they usually have a lot of money. The sole purpose of their existence is to fundraise money for library programming. So you should develop a relationship with them. So they bought 100 copies of the book from us, and we put together a program where the friends also bought musical instruments and coloring books that were bilingual. I also believe they did a reenactment of the Three Kings visiting baby Jesus in Bethlehem. So it was a lot of fun. But that's a great example of community partnership, understanding demographics. Like I said, we do a lot of events at farmers markets with kids' story times. So actually next week, we're inviting our city councilor to do a story time. He's just going to read classic kids' books. And I think we're going to also invite, we've been in contact with the Boston Police Department's community liaison. So they're going to send an officer to do a story time next month. And then we're going to try to get a firefighter. So they're going to read the books and then talk a little about their jobs. What does a city councilor do? What does a police officer do? So it's a great way to connect books, is also connecting kids to different jobs that people do in the community that are important. So it's a lot of fun opportunities to do things, especially in the summertime at farmers markets.
And we do a lot of partnerships as well, and they're excellent not just for cost sharing, but they really allow you to tap into your partner's audience as well. So it's a really good way to sort of like increase your visibility within your community by partnering with folks who have maybe like a little bit of a different demographic than you do, or who are doing different work, so that you can really expand and grow in that way.
Talia, did you want to talk a little bit about like the brewery and stuff?
Oh, yes. So we also do these cooking events. My business partner, she used to own a restaurant and she's a professional chef. So we partner with our local brewery. They let us use their kitchen for free. And she does cooking demonstrations. She picks a recipe from a cookbook that we sell. And we sell, this is a ticketed event. So I think the last event we did, we made kimchi. So we try to pick a recipe that's easy to do, the whole family can do together. And I think the ticket included the price of the book, two alcoholic beverage tickets, and unlimited soda for the kids, as well as payment for the food that they're making. Or in this case, they got to take home the kimchi in a jar that they made. But that's a really fun way to use food, cookbooks, and doing something that the whole family can do together, and develop a relationship that's beneficial both for your bookstore and the participating business.
Sorry, I just realized that I was not moving the slides. I apologize for failing as a moderator, everyone.
Okay. You're good. No worries.
Yeah. So we, speaking of farmers market too, we don't have anything nearly as fancy, an opportunity as Talia is talking about with the brewery, but we have done, cookbook book clubs with kids. And we have a farmers market that is right in front of our store during the summer. So we usually try and tie something into that. The year the Blueberries for Sal cookbook came out, we also had the blueberry guy was right in front of our store. So it's synergy. And that worked really well for him. And the farmers market loves us. And that made them love us even more. We have one of the few public bathrooms in downtown Los Altos. So, there's that. But it is nice and it's a fun time. And now I want to find a place where we can do something like that. Because that sounds really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd forgotten about all of these examples that we all have. This is super great. A lot of people have done stuffy sleepovers in various ways, but who on our panel has had really successful ones? I can't remember. Is it you? Yeah.
So one authorless event that we do is Stuffy Sleepovers, which we offer at low cost. We do tickets through Eventbrite for that. Right now they're set at $10 unless it's a specialty one like the holiday one. And for those, we host it after hours at our store. We invite the family to come for a story time with the stuffies. And we always say, bring your most adventurous stuffy, the one that you will not sob having to leave it at the store. There have been tears shed, but we do try to stress that. Beforehand, we do ask for stuffy information, stuffy name, description, child name, parent contact, because it is our job to keep track of those stuffies and make sure that they're safe with us throughout the night and that they get picked up by the right person. We post on our social media throughout the night of what the stuffy gets up to, stuffy making friends, stuffy playing games. So that way they can check in on their stuffy before they go to bed. And then we also bring a Polaroid camera and take a couple pictures of their stuffy, which we make into a little scrapbook. It's just one piece of paper folded into fours. So we put the 2 pictures in there. And then they come back the next day for pickup. They can pick it up anytime. They pick up their stuffy and they get a little goodie bag that has the scrapbook in it. So that's how we do the stuffy sleepovers at our store, but a lot of stores do, and even libraries, and even I've heard Chick-fil-A has done a stuffy sleepover. So it is something that some parents have heard about. We still get all the time stuffy sleepover. What is that? And we do have to tell people the kid is not sleeping over at the store. That is a common misconception that we get. We do not want to be responsible for that, even though that does sound really fun. I would have loved that.
No,
as
girl,
a kid.
we did that once. Don't do that. Don't do that. Also, we don't know how to turn off all of our lights. It was bad.
Yeah. And can I throw in another example? Just a quick example.
Talia has the best examples.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going with that.
If you're looking to do an event with older kids, like middle school, high school kids, our store, we host this Malcolm X readathon every year. We invite 200 people in the community to read 2 pages each from the autobiography of Malcolm X. So we were approached by Boston Public Schools recently to do a similar readathon for high school kids with the autobiography. So we're hoping to do that in February for Black History Month. And we're also planning other readathons. But I think that could also be a really cool thing to do, to pick a classic historical book that you can put together a readathon to do work with middle books that are appropriate for the age group. Yeah, and it's not expensive to do that. You just set up a sign up Genius to get people to sign up, or in this case, you would work with schools to have the students sign up to do that. But yeah, readathons are cool things to do. if you're working with an older audience of kids.
And this kind of goes back to publishers, but like you can always do something regarding pre-orders for a book that you know is going to be popular in your store, or a book that you know is going to be nationally popular. And you can just like bring people in to do kind of a special thing, and it doesn't even have to be that big a thing. We did a special thing for Sunrise on the Reaping when it came out, and we were not going to open at sunrise because I was not going to be at Linton Tree at 5:48 a.m. on a Tuesday. That was not going to happen. I did, however, open the store 2 hours early at 8 a.m. And we had a bunch of like parents who were rushing in before work so they could get their like kids pre-order copy. We had several teens and parents come in and they were like, yeah, we're skipping first period so we can do this instead. And that was really fun. Like we did all the tattoos. We had a good time. We had a little partnership with the coffee shop that's next door, and they gave them all 10% off on coffee and pastries. So it was like worth it to get up and do stuff. And that's another example of just like a really basic community partnership, is like, what are the businesses around you and how can you help each other, and just all have a good time with that. Yeah. Oh God. And there's still more. How many of y'all do Waldo? Yeah, everybody. So I feel like I don't really have to preach the good word of Waldo. But Waldo is a huge thing in my town. The downtown businesses get really into it. We go a little bit crazy. That photo of Waldo and Oddlaw is actually two of my nice young, like 21-year-old men who have worked at Linton Tree since they were teenagers. And they are our prize runners for our raffle drawing at the end of every Waldo. And they have the best time running around each other, like at the store. And it's just the whole community gets involved. So if you're not doing Waldo, find one of the people whose hands was up and like talk to them about Waldo, talk to me about Waldo. Like Waldo's the best. And you can do things that are not Waldo, that are Waldo-esque too. This year, our like downtown business association decided that instead of doing the usual Easter egg hunt that they would do the week before Easter, they were actually going to do a Waldo style scavenger hunt instead. And they called me and they said, please tell us how you do Waldo so we can figure out how to do Easter egg scavenger hunt instead. And I felt like we're like doing things in the community, like things are doing more things. Yeah. Continue on that stuff.
Yeah, I think that some people are like nervous about going off-site or doing farmers markets or popping up at local events because there's booth fees associated or something. And I think it's important, like as booksellers, as bookstore owners, as third spaces in the community to like sort of tout your value, right? Like I go to events all the time and have been pretty successful at getting our booth fee waived. If I'm like, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to do a story time and we're going to do a craft, but I'd love to be able to set up a table and also sell books. And they're like, great, cool, your fee's waived if you're doing an activity. I think I've only paid a booth fee like maybe once. So the work that we all do is important and is valuable in your community beyond just like generating revenue for other folks. I'm the one, I do a lot of like moms group story times as well. If you're ever wanting to like make sure you really like lock in folks who come, like plan it ahead of time, reach out to your local like stroller mom walk groups and invite a coffee cart into your store that they can purchase from. And like that will guarantee like these signups and these folks like tapping into other people's communities.
Something else that we have done, as you can see on the screen, is we've done watch parties. We have like a big screen and a projector that one of those things predates me. And one of them, my boss was just like, we're just going to invest on this projector and figure out how to use it. And it's done pretty well. And then we just sort of get everyone in like that's our very small but mighty adult book section that is covered up by the screen. And we get a bunch of like comfy pillows and blankets and chairs out. And we have just like popcorn and drinks, like nothing major. And we have a good time watching adaptations of books. And we've done this for children's stuff. Like that's a picture of our Percy Jackson party. Don't tell Disney. And we also did one for teens and adults with lessons in chemistry, which was very fun. But I do prefer the kids ones. I think the vibe is a little bit more us. This is so shocking to hear, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a good way to just like get people in, and like parents know that they can trust that their children are going to be somewhere for an hour or two. We had a lot of parents just drop off, and that was fine. Because the kids were all old enough that they didn't need to have like parental supervision all the time. And if that's something that you can do, I do recommend it. And it did, like, there were several parents who were like, this gives me an opportunity to just like go out with a friend for an hour or go grocery shopping or just like have some time. Like that's Third Spaces is what we are, as Amanda said. And this is just an easy way for it to be a community thing. And then we also had a bunch of people who were like, oh, I've never read the Percy Jackson books. I need to buy all of them now. We sold out of The Lightning Thief that night.
Yeah, we've done watch parties too, and we actually had it sponsored by like a local like picnic company that does like outdoor events, and they wanted to sort of advertise what they do to our customers, and they like brought in the whole setup, including the like comfy chairs and everything.
Okay, well, and Sarah's already talked a little bit about all-day events, but was there something else you wanted to talk about?
I will say I've already talked about the main thing we do with the flexible all-day events, which is the themed day. But I would just think about your store, what's challenges that your store has, and what can you do to bring people into the store. My goal was I wanted to make sure people knew we were here. And I wanted to grow our customer base. And so that's what I decided to do to try to, solve that problem. But it's going to work differently in all different kinds of stores. So I would just look at who your customers are, what your space looks like, and what your goals are, and try to find a model that is going to work for you. It will take time. There are definitely events that are more successful than others, but that doesn't mean that anyone is doing a bad job. It just means we're all figuring it out.
Exactly. Okay, how we measure success. I assume this is kind of something that all of you have seen or talked about before. And I would say that measuring success for authorless events is really not dissimilar to measuring success for authored events. How does that revenue compare, and where's the breakdown? Any P&Ls that you do are so worth it. Like I can't recommend them enough for any event that you do. Figure out what works for you in terms of like numbers, and just have like a spreadsheet that you can immediately plug numbers into, and that's going to be really, really helpful. If you get a lot of first-time customers or people who are like, oh, I'd never been to your store, but I heard about this event, or like you're out somewhere and they start talking to you and they see you, that is actually huge, because you are building a customer relationship right there. Community loyalty is, of course, a big thing. And this is why it's really important to know what your community looks like and what they want. And of course, the big one is like, does it align with what you want for your store? Does it align with your values and your goals for everything? Did it feel meaningful? Like, I don't know, maybe hosting 7 kids for a Heartstopper watch party isn't the most meaningful thing in the world, but they had such a great time, and we're looking forward to our next one, even though everyone is crying over the fact that it is the end of Heartstopper. Yeah, did you collect more contacts? Did your social media following grow? Like, all of these are ways that we measure our successes for any big event, but you can also measure your success for any small event or any ongoing event by using these same metrics, just on different levels. And I think that that's really important, especially as you start trying to figure out what you want your presence in your community and on the national stage to look like. Amanda and Talia?
Yeah, I can jump in and then Talia,
Yeah.
I'll pass it to you. So what I've learned in sort of like my time doing, free versus paid events is that they have, different goals like we talked about, but make sure we've said it over and over, but your community, because there is going to be this like price threshold, right? So we found that like a small ticket price ensures that people show up. They feel committed when they've paid sort of a nominal amount, but you want to make it accessible and sort of continue to serve your community in that way. And that if you sort of reach that pricing threshold for your community, and everyone's community is going to be different, you'll have a sort of drop off in attendance, which it can be very challenging, or at least it has been for me, to sort of find what that medium is and be clear about the value and what they're getting with their money, and then also making sure that it remains accessible to our whole community. So that's just something in lessons learned that I think it's important to note.
Yeah, and families are more likely to attend when there's a financial commitment, even if it's small. I mean, even for me, when I attend an author event at somebody else's store, and it's just $5, I'm like, I'm still going to go. It was $5. I'm not wasting that $5. And also be clear about if it's a paid ticketed event, what is the value? What do you actually get out of it? Like I was saying about the cooking demonstration, you might want it wherever you're selling the tickets, either on your website or Eventbrite or whatever you're using. You want to say, this is how much it is, and this is what you get. For my event, you get a copy of the cookbook, you get beverage tickets, and you get to take home your jar of kimchi that you make. Especially with the economy being what it is right now, people are very particular about how they spend money. So just be clear about what you're asking for, what the value is for what you're providing.
Okay. We are running super ahead of time, actually. So is there anything that like any of you felt like you didn't get a chance to talk about?
When I was talking about the stuffy sleepovers, how we do some special ones, I'll tell you a little bit about our holiday one. We have a hotel right across the street from us, and they actually reached out to us saying, hey, do you want to get involved with us? Here are some things we were thinking about, and those things we were not interested in. But always to me, I'm like, okay, I will keep this in the back of my mind. I will use this information one day. And then when we were thinking about how to make our holiday stuffy sleepover special, I had the idea of, how about we do it at the hotel across the street? We have a cute little story time there. And then the stuffies spend the night at the hotel. And then we get like really different looking pictures and just a really different looking experience. And it's just really fun to think about, okay, here's my idea for this event. What else can I do? Who else can I bring in? What can I do that's a little bit different that's going to increase that value for my customers and also expand the amount of customers that might be interested in the event? Our store is a neighborhood store, so we get a lot of the same customers, repeat customers, which is great. I love them. But I don't want them to be bored of our events or our stores. So I'm always trying to change it up and make it feel like it's not going to be a waste of your time to be that repeat customer or that repeat event goer. And I always just ask other people for what they think too, because sometimes I'll just be like, hey, I'm going to tell you about this event I'm thinking about. Let me know if you have any other ideas, because a lot of our staff members come from different backgrounds, have had lots of different kinds of jobs before this, or currently have additional jobs that we can use as community partners. So there's a lot of good intel out there. So I would just encourage people to think about, what can I do now with this idea to make it even more fun?
I love that hotel idea. There's like a fancy boutique hotel down the street from our store, and I think yes, I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, it's so good.
Just like notes being taken right here.
Yeah. And I want to add regarding the costume character events, like we did a Cat in a Hat event with Penguin Random House a couple weeks ago. And we realized maybe we should have a photographer there because a lot of parents were taking pictures with their kids for Christmas cards or holiday cards later in the year. And we're thinking, okay, so if we do this event again, we should get a photographer. And if people want to pay a little more money to have their pictures taken, professional pictures taken for their holiday cards, that could be a good idea.
And you can actually usually find a high school student who's willing to do that, who's like doing photography classes. That's especially like if you're in a city, like there's usually a high school that does a photography stuff, and that the fee will be much smaller.
Yeah. And also on the theme of just use authorless events to try to reach different communities, try to reach folks who wouldn't normally come to your store. Like we're actually working with another readathon, a smaller readathon that we're doing with a church we're partnering with on Saturday. They're going to be, they're going to have some middle grade kids reading, What to the Slave is the 4th of July, the famous Frederick Douglass speech. And the church bought copies of the book, the published book from our store. So, and we're getting a lot of customers from that. So, doing these types of events, you get to reach a lot of new people who you would never think would come to your store.
And honestly, we mostly do authored events, like I said, but some of my favorite events have been authorless events. I think they're really fun. I think they tend to be really community oriented in a way that like you might not necessarily get with a touring author. And it forces you to be more creative and think outside of the box. So, which to Sarah's point is a really good reason to talk to your booksellers and your community members and see like who has ideas for things, because you never know what someone's going to come up with. And yes, sometimes our most successful events are not the highest revenue events, but they're still a very, very fun time, and they build the base that will bring you revenue. So the basic summary, start with your community. Always, 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 what does the community want? What does your community look like? Partnerships, so important, even if it's literally just the cafe next door or the hotel down the street or a bank that is going to like subsidize free books for the community. It is good to know when to have a free event and when to have a paid event, and your store and community threshold for that is going to be different than every single other store. So I'm afraid like you're going to have to figure that one out for yourself. I'm really sorry. Different stores require different approaches, as we've said, and take what works for you, leave the rest. So I guess it's Q&A time. Emma's coming around with the mic.
Hi, thank you guys. Thank you so much for the session. It's so wonderful. I personally find authorless events to be exactly what you said, very community oriented. And help build that base. But that being said, I do have the question of how maybe you or anybody else in the room measures that success, because it doesn't show up on a P&L. Like, are you counting new customers? Are you tracking, what are the data points that you're looking at for success of these kind of events?
For us, a big one is this a values-driven event? Was this a good time? Did the community have fun? And you can't see that on a P&L, but I think you will eventually, because you are building community support. And sometimes like we're bookstores. We are values-driven businesses. And sometimes that is the thing that is going to be the best thing for us.
I mean, I grasp at straws, really. I'm like, what? Like, I'll like look at our stories and be like, you know what? The story we did on this, like, most of the viewers weren't our regular followers, and 8 families shared it, and we got to put it on our stories. So great, we reached that many people. I'm not the numbers person on my team. And so I'm like, isn't this great? We did this. And they're like, what? No, why are you so excited about this? And I'm like, we had 10 new families. But I think it really comes down to for me, is it meaningful? Is it aligned with our community? And do I feel good about it? Regardless of how many people showed up or how many dollars I made.
I would say one of my favorite measures of success is, did I get a good combination of regular customers that are here to support the store and customers that have never heard of the store, that heard of the event and wanted to come check it out, and I will hopefully be seeing them again. When I get a good combination of those two types of customers, I'm like, okay, I did something with that. We're having some sort of impact here. I love to see the community coming to support, but also when people find out about the event, I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about it? Oh, thank you so much for coming. And it's just amazing to see that it is having some sort of impact.
Look at that, Sarah coming through with a data answer.
I would say all the above. How many people came? Our Three Kings Day event, we had 400 people come to the library. It was crazy. We're planning, we got to double the amount of everything we did for next year. Also, I collect email addresses. People still do email. I have an email contact sign-up sheet at my table at all times when I do any event. I also have my social media handles on my table. So after the event, I can see how many people became followers or are sharing or retweeting or whatever. And there's a lot of things we look at. Yeah. We actually have we put together, when we put together a proposal, we put all that data in. We say, this is how many people came to the previous event. This is how many followers we got, email contacts. You definitely, when you put together a proposal, especially if you're trying to contact a bank or a business or any other organization, you want to put all those numbers in there. That's important.
Thank you so much, you guys. My bookstore has not hosted a readathon before, and I'm curious just to kind of know, how is that structured? What does that event look like? Just kind of some more details about how that's run.
I'm going to second that question. Yes.
So I worked with a couple of other community organizers who were really interested. They're very interested in keeping the words of Malcolm X alive. So we got some money together to rent out a community space, and we determined that it would take 20 hours to read the whole book. So we rented out the space for Saturday and Sunday. So we did 10 hours both days. We divided up the book, 2 or 3 pages each, and we created a sign-up genius, and we just put it out there, and we divided up the book by chapters. We said, okay, we need 10 people for chapter 1, 11 people for chapter 2. And we just put out the sign up genius to the community. And we said, just sign up for it. Again, this was an adult event. So I'm not talking about the kids event. It's going to be a little different if you're doing it with kids. But yeah, people signed up. And we've been doing it for the last 2 years, and it's great. Now with kids, it's going to be a little different. The autobiography, it's a very raw, unfiltered book, if you've read the book. So we might have to do a little censorship with the book. If we're going to have high school kids, there's a lot of swear words. There's a lot of the N-word used in the book. So we want to be careful with that. But yeah, we're going to work with a couple of the teachers who contacted us to make that readathon. We'll just use the same format. We'll censor the book a little, and we'll divvy it up, and hopefully we'll get 200. I think we're going to try to get 200 students to participate in it. And we're taking our time to organize this. So hopefully we'll have something ready to do by February. So,
can I ask how you determined that it would take 20 hours?
Well, we looked at the audiobook for it. And we also, we all read the book. We all have different paces of reading the book. So it was determined that it will take 20 or 21 hours to do it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi. Just playing around with the idea of a couple ideas and wondering if you guys have done something similar, like some sort of like poetry event where kids would then have an opportunity to kind of like come up and perform their poem or a poem on stage, or playing around with the idea of having sort of like a joke-a-rama stage where maybe there's a little contest for the worst dad jokes told by a dad, or, playing around with that, or the business. Has anyone done something in the spirit of that or something similar?
We've done story workshops, not poetry workshops, although I think that's a really fun idea. I love the idea of doing like a joke kind of thing. Like, I think that would be especially great for like a Father's Day event. Like, absolutely. We've hosted and we've had like story workshops and been the place where, kids could come and read their story, or a class could like have their book launch at Linden Tree. It's a really cute thing with the kids. They love it. They think it's a lot of fun. I think there's definitely a lot of places you could go within that sphere. And I would be very curious to hear how other people have done similar things.
I love the idea. I haven't done anything too similar, but the most similar thing that I have done is we did an art gallery for kids and hosted an opening reception for them. So we did that in our store. We have a local art fair, so we did it the same weekend. It's in the same neighborhood, so ideally you could go to both things. We had kids submit art. There was criteria for it that they would pick up the directions in advance. And it started out as an art contest, but we didn't have too many submissions at first. So then we started thinking, well, maybe, like everybody's a winner. This is just for everybody. And then all of a sudden we had so many. So that was an unexpected delight. But we ended up just hosting it like an art gallery where it was up for the whole weekend. And the opening reception, the kids would come and bring their families and be like, look, I'm an artist. My art is displayed somewhere. So we really liked doing that. We were going to do it every year. We ended up not doing it this year, but hopefully we'll try that again.
Yeah, the only similar thing we've done, we did an animation workshop. So we brought in a Pixar animator and had kids, he taught flipbook animation, and then we projected their flipbooks onto a screen, which was very cute. It was not especially well attended, so it was like very stressful for me, but the kiddos who were there got like a lot of one-on-one attention and had like an excellent time. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we didn't organize this event, but we were the bookseller for an organization that did a poetry slam with high school kids. So they had a couple of adult slammers come, and then we invited some kids from the community to also participate in it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hi. I just had a question because I am kind of in an interesting situation. I didn't know if anyone is in a similar situation or at a specific time of year. But we are a tourist town. And so like this time of year, I have a lot of problems getting people in the doors for children's events specifically because there's not a lot of parking. There is some, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. So like after hours for, adult book events, a lot of times people will come because the parking, whatever, is up after 6. but they won't come for like daytime events. And I was just wondering if you had any suggestions, because I kind of like worked up a really good group for story time, and then it hit after Memorial Day and everyone was gone.
Yeah, I'm in a tourist neighborhood. And I don't do any really store-sponsored events over the summer. I just piggyback on other community events. Like just yesterday, my team was at the ice cream festival, like doing story and crafts and selling books there. And I really usually save like our in-store events for during the school year, just because it's tough in the summer.
Yeah, I would suggest go where the tourists are going. If there's any outdoor festival, farmers markets, community events that are happening, that's what we do in our bookstore. A couple weeks ago, we were a bookseller at the local the city's Juneteenth event, and we got a sponsorship to give away 100 books at that event. So maybe just find where the tourists are and try to set up a table and do an event there, or just sell books.
And get that booth fee waived.
Yeah.
I love to know that we can get booth fees waived.
Mhm.
I think we have time for one more question. Yes.
Hi, I'm a new store that will be opening in October.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
This panel's been super helpful, but I had a question about, I sort of have two quick questions if it's okay. My first is, do you feel you have to have established publisher relationships in order to get these sponsorship sort of things from them and the theme costumes? No, I'm seeing all the heads shaking no. Good. And then my second question is, any tips on navigating licensing fees when you are showing, certain movies or things like that?
Licensing fees?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the venue.
Don't tell Disney on me.
What are those? No.
Please, we're not recording this one, right? I didn't do it. No one saw it. It never happened. So first of all, for the publishing thing, I will say, get to know your local reps. I know a lot of new stores don't often start with reps, but it's really good to start getting those contacts down, because even if you don't have a huge relationship with them, they will help you out a lot on the publisher side, especially if you're like, hey, I've discovered that we have a lot of people who are Mercy Watson fans. Can I get the Mercy Watson costume? Please and thank you. Or Dogman. Scholastic loves to send that thing around. And it's really worth it to do that. Plus then you get access to like all of their, little party kits and all of that stuff, which sometimes isn't useful, but sometimes actually does have really, really nice stuff in it. And that's a really good way to sort of, as we said before, like start figuring out what you want events to look like. And then you can either go more towards like authored events, depending on where you are and if you're getting a lot of authors, or you can really just like do what Amanda has done and just be like, we're not going to do author events. We're going to do other things, and we're going to have the best time doing it. So yeah, that's just, look for those publisher relationships and ask forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
No one heard me say that.
I have a baby bookstore for baby people. And so I haven't actually done any publisher events, just because I think we're the newest on this panel. We're like a year and a half in. So, yeah, I was in that boat. And as far as licensing fees, I think if you charge for an event, like I think it's like if you have an event and you don't sell alcohol, but alcohol is included, like it's fine. Like, like they can have a ticket for it and you're not like, there's ways
you were
around
having a private
various
party and a private business that it was not charged for.
Yeah,
so like,
there's
don't
sue me, but there are ways around it.
Yeah.
Remember, I have a baby bookstore. Don't sue me.
I think we have time for one more question, if that's okay with you.
Okay, yes. One more question.
Ooh, yay, it's me. Hi. Can you tell me the difference between using Eventbrite and using your own indie commerce website? And, I did this battle and Eventbrite did me dirty. So I moved to indie commerce, which are free, but I understand we don't get the kind of visibility that an Eventbrite event would. So I'm just looking for your thoughts, or what do you do?
I use Eventbrite for free events and then use our e-commerce for paid events, just because the reach on Eventbrite is bigger than my individual reach. But if I'm using my POS, that's when I'll ramp up paid ads on social media and that type of thing.
We don't use, we get people through Jotform and our POS. So I'm actually very deeply unhelpful here. Sarah, do you use Eventbrite?
Yeah, we use Eventbrite. To be honest, it was already established when I came on. So I don't have a good pro-con list. We advertise on our website, and then we link to, sometimes if it's an event that we're partnering the library for, we just use their website. So it will link there. If we use an additional website like Eventbrite, it'll link there. And I've had good luck with that. So,
all right, we are officially at 3:30. This ends the education sessions. Woo! Again, please fill out the survey. I hope to see you all in 20 minutes for Bink, and then 10 minutes after that for Lois Lowry. We will be hanging around for a few minutes if anyone has any questions, though. And our contacts are there. Please use them if you want them.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA site at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!